Tell me about your friendship with Wayne and Karl.
Can I introduce myself?
Of course.
My name is Travis Slaughter, Travis Alvin Lavelle Slaughter, and I'm here to tell the untold truth. All right.
So tell me about Wayne and Karl.
I met Wayne in Cuyahoga Hills Boys School, DYS, back in 1996, I believe. And we communicated, we connected, and I believe I had got out before him, or did he get out before me? I'm not sure. But when we had got out, we eventually met up. I had ran into him on Dorr Street, you know. And, a couple of my relatives was with me, and they was like, "Who is that? Who is that? Who is that?" I'm like, "Chill out, don't worry about it." They're like, "You know that dude?" And I'm like, "It don't make no difference, this and that." So then my family like, "I don't like dude." I'm like, "You don't even know the dude." However, Wayne had never, ever presented himself to me as a bad person because we were on the same wavelength. You know, they introduced me to some things that I wasn't introduced to before, and that made me hang around no more. We weren't no angels, we weren't no saint. You know, however, we weren't causing no ruckus neither like that.
So you guys would just party. It wasn't like you were hurting anyone. You were just out there partying.
Yeah.
So, and you just kind of met Karl through Wayne.
Yes. Yeah.
But you guys had a falling out. Tell me about the falling out that you guys had.
Wow. Looking back on that falling out, it was so minor. It was so petty, man. And wow. I would have never thought that it would have escalated this far. Well, with us kicking it, I had started to steal their clothes, wear them at first.
Which you admit.
Yeah. You know, they was flyer than me at the time. And so I was like, you know what? I want their clothes. That's 17-year-old thinking for you, adolescent thinking. I don't think like that now. Well, I was confronted by Wayne and Karl. "What's up with our clothes, man? Where's our clothes at? We look for this, we look for this, we look for that. We couldn't find it." And they was like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "I don't know." They were like, "What you mean you don't know? You was the last one in the house," so on and so forth, right? So we arguing, and eventually I just told them, like, "Look, yeah, I've been rocking y'all clothes. I've been sporting y'all clothes." You know, so they was like, "You got clothes. Why is you using our stuff?" So I'm like, "Man, ain't no big deal. I'll bring them back to you." You know, so they left. Now, about a couple days after that, we had ran into each other, and they was like, "Look, we don't even want our clothes back. You can keep all that. Next time you get paid at work, we want our money." I was like, "About how much?" They was like, "Them was some expensive clothes. So we want," I can't remember the amount they said, but I was like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." You know, so I got paid. I forgot all about reimbursing them for their clothes. I totally forgot about it. And so I come in from work, shower, about to head out the door, and Wayne and Karl was at the door. Now, mind you, my mom, she was like, I'm gonna need some money. I'm gonna need some rent money. I'm gonna need for you to help me out with these bills, so on and so forth. You ain't been kicking in like you supposed to. I'll put you out. I'm like, all right, I got you. So looking forward to going to cash this check, pay mom off, keep the rest to myself, go spend it on what I want. Wayne and Karl come over. And they come in the house, and they was like, "Where our money at?" I said, "Man, come on, man." They was like, "Ain't no come on nothing. What you mean?" So my two younger baby brothers was like, "Man, get out of our house. Get out of our house," you know. One was 10, one was like 9. They like, "Get out of our house." And I'm like, "Chill out, y'all. Calm down." So little struggle ensued in the house. And after that, I went on ahead, gave them the money, told them go on about their business. They was like, "Look, Trav, we still cool. However, we can't kick it like we used to." And I said, bluntly, I told them, "I don't hold no grudges. I just ain't fucking with y'all no more." So they was like, "All right, whatever." So about, I don't know, a week or something later, a month later, I can't recall exactly how long later, but I had ran into Karl on Miller, and I wanted some get back because I felt like With them coming in my parents' house, taking my money from me in front of my younger brothers, I just felt like that was just total disrespect. This is how I'm thinking at 17, mind you. So, I couldn't find a way to get back at them. And by the time I did have a way to get back at them, do that make sense?
Go ahead, it'll make sense.
Okay, so what had
So
happened
you
was-
hated them at that point.
Yeah,
You were really
yeah.
angry with them, and
Yes,
you
I was
wanted to
very
get
upset.
back.
I was, at 17 years old, I'm like, I'm gonna get them. Come in my house and embarrass me like that, do that. Well,
So you went over to Karl's mom's house.
yes, yep, I recall that, I did. And I was looking for Karl. Think I had ran into him. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry, this was so long ago, man. Like, wow,
Right.
22 years ago. It's hard to really recall all of this, so I'm
Right.
trying to remember what I can to the best of my acknowledgement.
But you were really angry with Karl at that point, and
Yes,
you wanted
I was.
to confront him.
I was highly upset.
Yeah.
And so when I was going to confront him, it wasn't to go and talk. My intentions was to do him harm. Now, went our separate ways again.
So there is no way at that point. So the police said you guys on June 15, 1998. They said you and Wayne and Karl were still kicking it, but you guys had already fallen out. You guys were angry with each other.
Right.
You weren't hanging out together.
No, we weren't. No, we were not.
So their story of you guys all getting together, partying all that day, which you told in the stand, there's no way it could even be true because you guys basically hated each other at this point.
That's right. That's right.
Well, let's talk about, so what happened on August 27th? So that day, you'd had a tough day the day before, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I had got loaded. The day before August 27th, I just got sloppy, nasty, pissy drunk, high as a bird, and I woke up with a hangover August 27th. And I had got up, and my thought pattern was get up, eat some cereal, watch some rap music videos, whatever, and shower, get dressed, get out the house before everybody else get up. Be as quiet as you can. That was my thought pattern. So, get up, and I sit on the couch, and I look right below my feet, and boom, it was a liter of vodka or something. I was like, whoa, that's still there. Wow. And something kept telling me, get out the house. You need to go. Get out the house. You need to get up and leave. Go. Something just kept egging on at me. Like, you need to go. Get out the house. The phone had rung. Cordless phone, right? And I pick it up, and it was static. It said, Travis. I was like, who is this? And click. Right when I set the phone down on the receiver, the door come booming in. Come flying off the hinges. And all I seen was a bunch of men in black with guns and shields and face masks. And all I'm thinking in my mind is, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? I have been in various drugs raids before this. However, I'm like, why is this coming through my mom's door? Why is this coming in through my mama's house?
so you had no idea why they were there.
No, I did not. I had no idea at all whatsoever. Like, what? Like, they got the wrong house. They tripping. And it was like, where's the gun? Where's the fucking gun? Where's the gun at this and that? And believe they read me my rights. I don't know. Slammed me to the floor, took me upstairs to my room. They was like, listen, if you have any drugs, let me know now and I'll get rid of them for you. I'm like, I don't have no drugs. He said, but I said, I don't have no drugs. I don't care what you seen. I don't have anything like that. So he was like, all right, I'm gonna give you one more chance. And the most saddest part about that was seeing my younger brothers in restraining order positions, and just being manhandled like that, and me cuffed with police all around me. And I'm just like, one of my brothers looked at me, he said, Travis, what did you do? And I was like, I don't know.
So they didn't tell you at that point?
No, they didn't. I was racking my brain, like, what could I have done to bring this on my family? What did I do, man? And so they take me downtown, and for 5 hours, I'm denying what they're saying I partook in.
They said you killed Maurice Purifie
Yes, they
at
said that.
4 in the morning on June 15th, 1998. Did you kill Maurice Purifie?
No, I did not kill Maurice Purifie.
Were you with anyone who killed Maurice Purifie?
No, I was not.
Or do you, for to the best of your knowledge, did Wayne and Karl have anything to do with the death of Maurice Purifie?
No, they did not. No, Wayne and Karl did not have anything to do with the killing of Maurice Purifie.
So for 5 hours, you told the police that you had nothing to do with this.
That's right.
And their reaction was?
Pretty much, you did have something to do with this. We already had a call on you about this matter. They were just drilling me and just consistently antagonizing me and just trying to convince me and manipulate me that I partook in this, that I had, and I'm just like, no, I did not. What is y'all talking about? I don't even know this kid. I don't even know the boy, man.
So tell me, like this, as a 17, 18-year-old, whatever you were, tell me what your mental space was at that point. How were you feeling? So you said you were hungover.
I was hungover. I was exhausted. I was hungry. I was tired, drained, and I just wanted out of there by any means necessary. What can I do or say to get the fuck out of this room? I just want out of here, period, out of this building. I want to go where I was at before. Like, why am I even here?
So what happened? Eventually, you just told them that you were there and you were with the person who...
Right, I did.
Why did you do that?
Because I felt at that time, I had felt that if I could say something to get the pressure up off of me, they'll go along with it, and then I could say more, they'll go along with it, and then eventually I could back my way out. That's how I was thinking at the time. And they outsmarted me, you know.
So you think they were playing head games with you?
Pretty much,
They were
yes.
promising you certain things, weren't they? Were they saying, hey, if you just tell us, we'll let you go home, stuff like that?
Pretty much, yeah.
And you believed them?
Yeah, I have believed it. Yes, I did.
So how do Wayne and Karl get involved in this confession of yours?
Wow. Mind of a juvenile, living a child life, man, and I wanted revenge against them. I wanted retaliation. And when the police had convinced me that I weren't going anywhere because I had just implicated myself in Maurice Purifie's death, now I'm like, this can't be possible. Like, you about to put me on a murder? And I'm like, you know what? I was so mad, man. I was so upset. I was enraged. And I said, you know what? They going with me. And I said, we'll figure it out from there.
And they pretty much told you, they said, we know you're with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Maurice Purifie?
No, I did not.
Had you ever seen him around the neighborhood or anything?
I seen Maurice a couple times. He was mainly always on the basketball court with his younger brother, I believe, at the time. And from what he appeared to be a cool, young, laid-back dude. He wasn't into no mischief at all, as far as I know. I never heard his name.
Yeah. But when you got on the stand, you said that you were a drug dealer and Maurice was selling drugs for you.
Right, I did say that.
Were you a drug dealer?
No, I was not.
Was Maurice selling, so Maurice was not selling
No,
drugs
he was
for
not.
you? So you had never sold drugs at all?
No, he had not. As far as I knew, no.
Yeah. Do you have any idea why Maurice was killed? Did you hear anything around the neighborhood?
Only thing I heard about him being killed was the murder itself. From what the media had broadcast, from what the journal had put out, from what the paper had presented, and
Now, your mom had actually put the paper up on...
right, she would get the paper every time the paper came out. And I believe his murder had made front page news, and so she had brought it home. And she called us all downstairs. We was all asleep, waiting to go to school the next day, and she called us all downstairs, and she was ranting and raving and raising hell about it, you know, and we was just standing there looking at her, shocked. I don't know what my other brothers was feeling, and we was just like, wow, you know, and we all went upstairs kind of sad afterwards. The energy and my brothers had shifted. We all just went upstairs with our heads down, like, and I looked at my two younger baby brothers at the time, and I was just thanking God that I still had them, you know. And that's how I had heard about it at first. And after that, you would just hear throughout the streets, people talking. Everywhere you went, you would hear about his murder. Although people may have knew his name or not, you would still know they were referring to him.
Yeah. So some of the details of the killing you actually learned through that newspaper article.
Pretty much,
whenever
yes.
you were telling the police.
Yes.
So why do you think they even kind of swept you up in this whole thing?
I had juvenile warrants out for my arrest for a parole violation. And that part played in them raiding my mom's house to come and get me. However, when they come to get you for a warrant, they don't come like that unless it's something outlandish, just something crazy, you know. And the juvenile parole violations I were wanted for weren't even to that high of a stake at all.
But you did have a rape at that point that you were accused of.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and I didn't even know anything about that until I was hauled off and questioned on it.
Which you admit to. I mean, there's a 12-year-old girl. You had sex with her, which you admit to.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, let me say this on that.
Hmm?
I was raised thoroughly. I was raised very well. I was raised to know right from wrong. I weren't raised to believe in raping someone. I did not rape her. However, I will say this. Here's what I am guilty of, is having sex with her. Although I was 17, she was 12. It made no right at all whatsoever. Now, I don't want to glorify anything from my past, but I will speak truth of what led up to that. When you're in the streets, there is no rules at all. When you would go and get drugs from a drug dealer's house, an older guy, whatever, middle age, mainly adults, you would see underage girls at this drug dealer house in t-shirt and panties. And when you're fresh off into the streets, when you just started getting off into the streets and you're seeing that, and in your mind, you know that ain't right. That's not proper. Them not his children running around like that. Or when you hanging out on the corner on the block and you hearing older brothers talk about younger women. And you knew the ones that they were referring to, because not only would they say their name, they would say what neighborhood, so you instantly knew. And you're like, these dudes out here gunning down these young girls like this, and they like speaking on it as if they're just a plate, pass it around. And so the heavier I got off into the streets, from drug usage to running with people who were also in that life, the more things I dabbled off into. I partook of what I seen. I started playing the same role as everyone else, you know, just following along.
Right. And
when me and her did that, I had sex on her couch in the living room. It wasn't no forced. It was not forced. You know, it wasn't no manipulation or any of that. And I had started hearing about this rape maybe, no, you know what? I didn't hear about it until they had took me in.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to recall if I had heard about it before that.
Now, did they hold this over you? Did they use this as leverage to get you to
Pretty much
cooperate with them?
Yes.
What did they tell you?
They was like, we already got you on this, so you might as well go ahead and confess up to this right here as well. We know you partook in this.
Right.
We know like, come on, work with us here. We're trying to work with you.
But the story you told the police in the interview, I think it was that Maurice owed Karl money and Karl shot him. So the details were much different than what came out at trial. How did those other details come forward? The final version that came out in trial?
I was helped. I was helped by the police on how to orchestrate this story and collaborated together. That way when it's presented, it's more convincing. You know, and I was just like, man, wow.
Did
All the while-
did they tell you that they wanted you to be more convincing?
They said you need to be more detailed.
And they gave you the details, is what you're
Pretty
saying.
much. They said we need for you to cut to the core on this. So they were presenting and building up their plot.
Did they tell you how Maurice died? I mean, you didn't know that he was shot 4 times in the head. And did they give you all those details?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
And they told you how you hit him in the collarbone first, then you shot him in the chest. And I mean, they kind of led you through the way it had to go.
Yes. They led me through it.
So what do you
whatever didn't make sense to them, they would say, no. See, that couldn't have happened because of this, and that. So, would it be safer to say you was here or were you standing right here? And I'm just like, man, what the fuck? Like, damn, just go along with the shit. Leave me alone, you know?
So when you gave them an audio statement on April 27th, 1999, whatever it was that your first attempt, or did you have to keep repeating the story over and over?
I had to repetitively just tell the story over and over.
You had
Until
told
it
you had told me
sunk in.
before that they would actually stop the tape and rewind it and
Yes.
start over.
Yeah, that they would. That they would.
I mean, how does that make you feel?
If I dwell on it too long, I become enraged. I really do. I feel like I was played like a tune. I was played to the max. You know, I was coerced. I was manipulated. And, wow, you know, can we go on to what happens afterwards?
Sure.
After the conviction and everything?
Sure. Well, I mean, talk to me about the trial a little bit, because, you know, you had Wayne and Karl there in front of you.
Right.
But you wanted to get them at this point. You wanted to make sure that they stayed in prison.
No, listen. At this time, as I'm walking up to the stand, in my mind, I'm like, I can't believe I'm about to go through with this. I'm looking at them, and I felt compassion, and I felt sympathy for them. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't. I really do not want to do this. However, I have to because I made a deal. And when you're playing a role of someone, when you're playing the role of a character, you have to make this character be very convincing at all costs, you know. And when I got up there, I felt like I was playing a role. I was in character. I had to present myself to be someone I weren't. And I couldn't even look at the family and the roles. I just couldn't. It would have made me so uncomfortable. Wow. When it was over and I was led back to my cell block, and it was time for the conviction, right? Later on that evening, about 6 o'clock, I think, I'm sitting on the table, and I'm anxious, but I'm nervous to hear the verdict. You know, and I'm sitting there, and there's guys around me. They don't know what just occurred. Some had an idea, but they just weren't sure. And there were a couple people in the cell block with me from my neighborhood. And the most horrible part of that was backing that up afterwards. For 18 years, retelling this lie over and over and over. You know, and the regret, the embarrassment, the shame, the hurt, and the psychological dysfunction it caused me.
Because you actually saw them be convicted, right? Like on
Yes.
TV.
Yes, I
You
did.
saw Karl's reaction.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did.
And how'd that make you feel?
I was hurt, man. I was hurt. I really was. Every time I would watch that video play, that's the Karl I knew. That's the Karl who I ran with. You know, that voice, his facial expression, his body language, the tone of his voice, you know, the emotions, the uproar, everything. I'm like, that's him, I know him. And I'm like, wow. And I was like, I fucked their life up. Theirs and mine. You know, theirs maybe more. You know, can't compare and weigh that. And I was just like, wow, I fucked their life up. So now, here I am reliving this lie, presenting myself to be this individual who ran with gang members and so on and so forth, which was partially true. However, me presenting myself as killing a 13-year-old over some drug money, drug deal going bad, that image right there, wow, when there were people around me from the inner city, the urban community, when there were people in prison with me, around me, from the same area as I was like, well, my case isn't as worse as theirs. I'm like, and they have higher rank and status in the streets than I ever did, so they can't too much downplay me. So when arguments would ensue in prison, people would throw up each other's cases in one another's face, so I did my best to stay out them arguments, you know, but
you had to live with that for
yeah, I did.
18 years. Because
and that's what I'm going on to describe and explain. People were coming up to me, you on the case with Wayne and Karl. Listen, I remember your case. They said you killed that boy over some shoes. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? I killed him over some tennis shoes? They're like, yeah, because the shoes was off and they weren't there when he went. And I'm like, listen, man, you know what, get the fuck out of my face. And people would come, what's up, man, what's up, I'm like, nothing, man. He inquiring to me about my case and saying it was about this, and that. They like, man, people gonna talk, people gonna add things on, people gonna exaggerate. You know, however, do you, man, what's done is done, you handled your business. And when people would say that, I'm like, damn, this is some ruthless ass people, man.
But that's what you had basically gotten on the stand and admitted
right.
to.
And so
and you had to
now people are looking at me as this person. And
you weren't that person.
No, I weren't at all. And I'm still not, never was. You know,
but you had to keep it up because you agreed to this. This was part of your deal.
Right. So eventually, once all the hype, all the gossip and pandemonium died down, the aftermath of all this was now dealing with people from different states and cities. Wait, what you locked up for? What you do? How much time you got? So on and so forth. Eventually, I got tired of retelling that lie because here it is, I'm going to church, I'm praying, saying my grace, you know, doing everything of biblical principles, right, that I claim to live by. However, I'm continuing, if I repent of something, if I say that I'll no longer indulge in something, whether it's a lie or anything, and I call myself worshiping and praising God, right, but I'm still doing something that I said I refrained from, that makes me a hypocrite. And that makes me just look like fake to everything. And so I said, I cannot keep telling this lie. I can't. I said, this is disgusting. This is sickening, man. I said, I actually manipulated myself, convinced myself. That's some hell. That's wow. Wow, convinced myself that I did this. And so now people's coming up to me, why you do it? Relatives inquiring to me, what made you do that? You know, and I'm just like, I can't keep doing this shit, man. I can't keep telling this lie, man. I'm like, this is crazy as hell because the more I tell it, the more I'm believing it. And so I'm like, you know what? It's time to clarify all of this. And so once that burden was lifted off of my shoulders, I gave it unto God. I gave it unto Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I started being honest with people. And some were shocked.
In prison?
Yes, in prison. I started telling them, listen, man, I'm innocent, man. Who I told you I had killed and everything I said about my case was a lie. Everything is wrong. It's not true. It's not true. They're like, what you mean it's not true? Like, what do you mean? What are you telling me? Are you trying to cover up for somebody else? Did you do something for somebody else? And I'm like, no, none of it is true. And I'm like, man, you know what I hate the most? They're like, what? I'm like, I had 2 people convicted, man. They doing life. And I'll never forget this one brother named HL. He's dead now. He died like 12, 13 years ago. He wasn't taking his blood pressure medicine. He didn't like it, so he passed. And I'll never forget his reaction. He said, I see now why your mood shift and why you act the way you do sometimes. He said, you a good kid, man. You really are, man. He said, that's why I kick it with you. That's why I talk with you, and that's why I treat you the way I do, because you wow. He said, now it makes sense why your moves are. He said, I didn't know what was wrong with you. I thought you was just psychologically unstable. You know, I thought you was just fried. And I'm like, no, man. I'm carrying this, and I need to get it off my chest. So I would tell anybody who would listen. And in 2003 or 2, I had signed an affidavit, got a stamp, notarized, and had it shipped back to Wayne and Karl. I didn't read it thoroughly, though. And it was stating that I acted alone in Maurice Purifie's murder, and they had nothing to do with this at all. So once that was brought back to me, right, like, do you know what you just signed? And I'm like, oh, shit. And they was like, if you do this, the prosecutors can take their deal back and reconvict you, man. They get out, they reopen this and that, you're going back on your deal. You're recanting your story like you done previously, but this time, like, you can't do that. You got to wait till you get out. And I'm just like...
Because you're saying that you did it alone, that's
right,
what you said.
Right, and I can't go back on the deal I made. So now I'm just like, wow, I got to bear with this. I got to toughen this out, you know, and so I did. The only time I would be reminded of Wayne and Karl was when I heard from them. When I would hear from them, before the guilt, the shame would seep in, I would just get enraged. I would get upset. I'm like, why the fuck is they bothering me? Leave me alone. No, this and that. But that was my defense mechanism. That was my way of backing off from the shame and guilt. That was my way of trying to shut them out. I don't want to hear from you. It was like you killed 2 people, right? And they're haunting you. So you do everything in your power not to think about them. So when they resurface, now you're like, man, no, block it out. So that's what I kept trying to do. And the more I blocked it out, the heavier the burden got. You know, I kept giving this burden away and then taking it back on, giving it away and taking it back on. So I was released 3 years ago, right? And so when I got out, I was readapting to life out here in the outside world. And I wasn't thinking about Wayne and Karl like that. And a private matter of fact, I was in a reentry program, workhouse program. And this private investigator came to the office. Wow. Did that scare the living daylights out of me? Now, mind you, I'm in a ministry. It's a reentry work/ministry. Truly Reaching You Ministries. And these people supported me 100% through and through all the way. Whatever I need and wanted, they made sure that they provided for me. And here it is now, my past is rearing its ugly head again, and it's following me.
Was the investigator there for you?
Yes, she was. She had a big yellow envelope, and the president of the place was like, I need to talk with you. I said, okay. So we went upstairs, went into the back office, sat down, closed the doors, and he was like, what is this regarding? And I said, before I elaborate, can I ask you a question? He was like, sure. I said, what would happen if I had my case reopened and it was presented to the courts? He said, I can tell you 1 or 2 things that's going to happen. And after he had explained himself, when I heard the perjury part, the re-indictment part, In my head, I was like, not again. Not again, man. No, not again. It gotta be some way I can fix this without all the extra bullshit. It gotta be some way I can fix this, man, without all of that. So he was like, what happened? And I told him a true lie. I told him half truth and a half lie.
What'd you tell him?
I had told him that my two co-defendants were innocent, but I weren't. You see that psychological dysfunction, that defect right there? Without me even thinking it all the way through what I was saying, I was repeating that lie again. And when he was convinced, and he was like, okay. He said, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you right now. My heart started racing. I was sweating. I'm like, oh my God, wow, he about to throw me out here. In a city I'm not from, don't know nothing about, and here it is, I'm trying to get my life reestablished, and boom, he about to throw me out. But he didn't throw me out. He worked with me in my favor. He supported me. And he called up his attorney and said, does Trav have a court case pending? A court date pending, my mistake. And so they was like, no. And I'm like, wow. I got a subpoena in the mail stating that I had to appear in court the following next couple days or something. And here it is, it's not even legit, it's not even authentic at all. So now there's an alarm just ringing in my head. They trying to lure me back so they can kill me. I'm like, wow. I'm like, why would they send a private investigator to make it look good? And I'm like, they really after me. And so now I'm battling within. What should I do? Who can I run to? And I started thinking on the street mess again for a moment. I said, no. That's going to bring too much heat and attention on yourself. And you don't need that right now. You're trying to get your life together. And I spread it out wider. And so I was like, wow, you know what? Okay. Don't go, because you don't have to. Send them their check back in the mail. And sent the check back to them. And they were concerned, very concerned about how I was feeling. I couldn't tell them honestly. I could have, but I chose not to tell them how I was feeling. I chose not to tell the staff at Tri how I was feeling because I couldn't.
But this was the Innocence Project that was trying to get you to come to court.
And I didn't know that it was the Innocent Project. I had no idea that it was them because I never met these people before.
Would you be willing to give an affidavit to the Innocence Project now?
Stating that, yes, I was, stating that neither me, Wayne, nor Karl partook in this.
Right.
Yes.
So why should I believe you? Why should the viewers believe you when you say you had nothing to do with this? How do I know it's not another lie, another Travis Slaughter story?
And I can see why you would feel that way. I honestly do. However, why should you believe it? Is because everything I just said, if it haven't convinced you enough, I don't know what else to tell you. Everything I just said led up to that. You're entitled to believe and feel what you want. However, I'm not trying to save face with anyone. I know for a fact that me, neither Wayne nor Karl, matter of fact, here, if you watch the recording of me being interrogated for 5.5 hours, right? You watch that recording. You see, for 5.5 hours, I denied it, or 5 hours, whatever. Around the 6th hour, I'm finally given some kind of confession and multiple statements. Right then and there, that says it all right then and there. After the second statement, the second story, they should have been like, get him the hell out of here, man. Are you serious? I wasn't even well educated at that time. You know, I had dropped out of high school. I was on drugs pretty heavy. And all of that, I had made them choices. And with me being like that, they was just happy to have a confession. Less pressure on their backs, you know?
It was a high profile, like you said,
It was
that's
a
all people were
high-profile
talking
case.
about.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all. Everywhere you went, people were talking about this murder. Everywhere you went. So, once they finally got a confession, it was like, boom. Rain cloud going, pressure relieved.
So why do you want to tell your story now?
Because I can no longer live with the guilt, burden, and shame of two innocent men doing 23 years to life behind my false testimony. Excuse me.
Now, you actually told me before that you actually had something happen to you in the county jail. Tell me about that experience when you were...
After my conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So you had your no contact, or you had your last contact
Right.
visit with your mom.
My mom had came to see me after my conviction, and I think this was like my last visit, something like that. And there was a no contact visit. So we're sitting between prison bars, from the ceiling all the way to the floor. And my mom's on this side, I'm on this side. She like, give me your hands, baby. So she would hold my hands. I'm like, Mom, you can't keep holding my hands. You can't keep holding my hands, because if you do, they're gonna cut them. But she like, what? I'm like, you can't keep holding my hands, because she was like, forget them people, forget them. You my baby. So I'm like, look, Mom, she like, boy, just stop. And she would talk to me, and tears would just stream out her face. And she was shaking uncontrollably, because she was like, wow, wow. And I'm sitting there wanting to tell her, like, Mom, I didn't do this. Nor did Wayne or Karl. Like, I didn't know who to cry out to at the time. I really didn't. That's my phone. So the lady comes out the booth, the deputy sheriff. She was like, ma'am, if you touch him one more time, I'm going to terminate your visit. So my mom like, okay. She goes back in. My mom goes to touch me again. I move my hands before the lady could see it. My mom goes to touch me again. The lady comes flying out. You need to go. Come on, visit's over. Visit is over. Visit is terminated. I told you don't be touching him. So now my mom trying to talk over her. And the lady is raising her voice. My mom raising her voice. And I'm just standing. I'm still sitting at the bars watching this. And I'm in this heavy chair, like a plastic, solid, heavy chair, right? And I go to scoop my chair back. And I stand up. And they went to tell me, sit down, this and that. We're coming to get you in a minute. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, what should I do? Like, they just took my mom, I'm not gonna see her forever. And I was like, I'm tired, man, forget this. And I took my chair and I flung it. And I said, come and get me. So they come bum rushing me. First it was just like 3 of them coming towards me real fast. And I threw my hands up in a fighting position. And they restrained me, picked me up in the air, slammed me down face first into the floor. I lost this half a tooth. It's fixed now, though. And I kept fighting. I just kept on. I wouldn't give up. I was enraged. My adrenaline was pumping so fast, and my pride was so high, I didn't want to quit. I said, I'm doing this for my mom, I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing this just because I'm fed up, I'm tired. And so, after all the tussling, and they take me to this janitory closet. They open the doors, and they're like, I can't remember the 2 deputies exactly, but they were pretty big guys. They're like, run his head through there. And it was this long, spiky, rusty object sticking out. And they kept trying to run my head into it. And I kept navigating my head to the left so they couldn't get me. And when they seen that it wasn't to no success, eventually they tried one more time, and it lodged in my collarbone. And it was just a cut at first, just a little deep cut. And I just kept looking at it all that night, because I was up all night. They finally got me in my cell, and I'm kicking the doors just vigorously. It's nonstop, boom, boom. My feet is bleeding and everything. I'm just beyond pissed, and the screws came out, the door frame, right, the window frame, my mistake. They unraveled, and I figured now, like, I could get this window out, unlatch my door, and get out. And they came to the door, and they was like, you just don't get enough, do you, boy? You just don't quit. Are you effing stupid? This, and that. So I'm like, man, F y'all. I'm saying all kind of just vulgar, vile things to them to try to get them to come in. And they left. And this lady named Kathy, I'll never forget her. She was an older black woman, a deputy sheriff. She came to my cell, and she said, listen, you got to stop. You got to stop, baby. they gonna kill you. And I looked her in her eyes, and she had tears streaming out her eyes. She said, they gonna kill you. You gotta stop. You know, and I can just, in the back, I could hear something being torn. Because now it's just me and her communicating. All the noise had died down. I was the one making all the noise, so I was like, okay. So I calmed down, went and sat on my bed, and wow. They came to my cell and they had a torn sheet in the noose. And they said, you done? What's wrong, boy? We don't hear you. We don't hear you, bitch. What's wrong? And I'm like, man, let's get away from my cell. Just go. They're like, that's what we thought. We hear your mouth one more time tonight before we leave. We coming in to get you. Once they had left, a couple hours later, Kathy had came to check on me, brought me some snacks. And she, wow. She had said, I'm going to contact your family for you. I'm going to figure out some way to contact them. And she had the porter come and check on me while she was in the process of trying to contact my family. And so the porter was like, man, where you from? What you in for? So on and so forth. And I briefly told him. And he was like, I heard about that, this and that, man. He said, that's some crazy shit. That's some fucked up shit, man. He said, you don't even seem like that kind of person, man. He like, you a kid, man. He like, wow. He said, I bet it was the other two, huh? And I just put my head down like, wow. Like, here it is. I got society. I got the world convinced. I told this lie, and now I got to live this lie. Well, Kathy had had the porter bring me out my cell, right? And I got on the phone, talked to my girlfriend at the time, I talked to my mom, I talked to my auntie, and they told me some crazy stuff. They said every time we called up here, they would tell us a different story on what's wrong with you. First they said you couldn't get no visits, no calls, and then one said that you was in the infirmary, one said that you was on cell ice. They like, what's going on? And my voice was so hoarse from screaming that they was like, is you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, they trying to kill me in here. They was like, what did they do to you? So now they're calling up to the county jail. My parents are just back to back nonstop. From the wee hours of the morning till late in the evening, they're calling. You know, we want to see our baby. What's the matter? And eventually they got NAACP involved. Once I were able to tell them audibly, clearly that here's exactly what happened, what they did to me, but here's why they did it. And they was like, that still ain't right, that ain't fair. They tried to kill you. And so I was called up to the warden's office, I don't know, a couple weeks later, a week later maybe. And it was this big, burly, cocky guy with his hair slicked back, with Jerry Curl, he's balling in the middle, and I'm looking at him like, this fucking peon, this dork, you know, like, you don't scare me. He's like, have a seat. And I sit there, I look at him. He says, so you think you a badass, you think you're a tough guy, this and that. I heard about you. Your name got all the way up here to my fucking office. So you just interrupted my personal time throughout my life, my day, because your name is just ringing and I'm like, I'm just sitting there. And he was like, let me tell you something. Just keep your fucking mouth shut. Don't say nothing. Don't talk about your case to nobody because I hear shit and I don't like it. Shut up and remember our fucking deal. So when he tells me remember our fucking deal, in my head I'm like, who is this guy? Who are you? I wanted to ask him that, but he kind of intimidated me at the same time because I'm a 150-pound, 17-year-old fragile kid, and it just wasn't him. You had a couple deputies in there who, by their energy, you could tell they was feeling themselves. And so I'm like, now let me just be quiet and get the fuck out of here. But all that night I'm racking my brain. Remember the fuck, who is he? So now I inquired to a couple deputies that I talked to in the county, who is that guy? And it was like, why? With a smirk on their face. And it was like, he ain't to be messed with, blah, blah. I'm just like, all right. And that was the end of that chapter. Eventually I was shipped out. Off the CRC, off the Madison, off the Ross, off the Lucasville, Lebanon, so on and so forth.
So tell me about the Travis today. Who are you today?
Who am I today? I am a child of God. I'm a king. You know, I'm a humble person. I'm very approachable. I'm easy to talk to. And I treat everybody equal. I treat everyone fair. I give everyone a chance. It's just me.
So just give your final statement, what you want to say to Wayne, Karl, about the whole situation, Maurice's family, anything you want to say.
Wow. Maurice Purifie's family, I want to sincerely, wholeheartedly apologize to you all, which I know it may not mean much to you right now, for convincing you of this lie that I've been living and telling for the past 22 years. May God's will be done and may this truth be exposed on what really actually occurred. Wayne and Karl, my mistake, man, my mistake. And if there's any way that I can possibly fix this, right my wrongs with y'all, I will. That's it.